Welcome in to our Jacksonville Jaguars Week 13 matchup as we return home to Jacksonville, this time hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. And that's good news for our Jags as they are not a divisional opponent. For some reason, the Colts, Titans twice have beaten us. We have yet to play against the Texans. We have 2 games late against them, but we have not been able to pick up wins against our division rivals. However, every other team we have faced not in the AFC South, we've beaten. And Coach Boston looks to keep that trend going as we host the Las Vegas Raiders, who have the number 7th rushing offense, number 4th rush defense. And that's helped them to the same 8-3 record. However, last week they took the 2 seed from us, 30-17 against the Broncos. Their only other really impressive win was against our rival in said Texans, 27-7. 2 of their 3 losses, though, including the Chiefs as well as the Chargers, were both multi-score losses. Gardner Minshew still the quarterback here for the Raiders, and he's having actually a pretty good year. 19 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 70% complete. We've obviously had our struggles against the likes of Will Levis. Hopefully that will not be the same today. Tony Pollard is their lead running back. He has over 700 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns for both him and Elijah Mitchell. In the receiving game, they have the combination of vet and young rising star Devontae Adams, about 700 yards, 7 touchdowns, and then Brock Bowers. In his second year, he has approaching 600 yards, 4 more touchdowns. They look his way second most. And on defense, they've got guys in the front 7 making big plays. Jerome Baker racking up all the sacks. TFLs, they have Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, and Cleveland Farrell all picking up TFLs. And then Crosby, Wilson, and Wilkins also making plays in the backfield in the passing game. And whenever the ball does get out, Robert Spillane seems to be there quite often. This should be a good battle, and with a tight race at the top here of the AFC, where we are trying to catch up to Baltimore 9-2. The Raiders stand in our way. One of these teams is leaving today 9-3, while the other will be dropping to 8-4, and if that happens with the Raiders, they might be dropping out of first in the AFC West. But if we're to find our way to victory, we're going to have to see some coverage today. Good news is they'll not be on the field first, as it is a kick all the way back inside the 5 for Levy Brown to return. Devin Duvernay helping lead the way. He breaks some tackles, bursting forward all the way to about midfield. The 47 will be the starting spot today for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And for Lawrence and Etienne, who have done a terrific job rushing the ball in this season, he'll look to go his way via the passing game. Halfback screen, and Spillane brings him down, gain of 5. As it has been for most of the season, really the key to success today is going to be through Etienne. He's the rock of the offense. Everyone else is supporting cast as he's down the middle, picking up the first down. And even last year, he ran pretty well. Now with the improved interior, he's had a lot more space. Looking to pass the ball and throwing in between the covermans, missing Sexton. This has been a weak point for Lawrence this year for some reason. The short passing has been far more inaccurate, almost, than anything else. Some of his scrambled deep balls have been pretty rough as well. Limited gain there. And now Cleveland, starting center here for our Jaguars, is shaken up. He's going to work his way to the tunnel. Look like he's clutching that right shoulder area. Well, the 38 will have the backup come in. And 9 yards needed. 2 receivers to the left, 2 tight ends to the right. They throw across the middle and it's dropped. Intended for Brenton Strange. Looked like it would have been short of the line to gain. When Coach Boston, he calls a timeout there to find a good play here for 4th and 9 as he keeps the offense on the field. With a hard count, no one jumps. Second hard count, no one jumps. Third hard count, someone finally moves, and it's going to be a Jaguar. It would appear they were just outside of field goal range. They tried to get the free yardage to get inside, but inevitably, they do still have to punt. Starting back at the 7. Good field position for the Jaguars go to waste. Raiders, they've got a long field, but picking up a first down on the first play goes Pollard. potentially a little bit of a more favorable spot. As they go right back to him, he gets by the corner, sent on the blitz, picks up another 3. He's coming off a 19 rush, 86-yard and 2-touchdown game. And for Minshew, I'm sure he'll take all the help he can get with a 2nd and 7. Motion on the left-hand side, they make it a 2-receiver stack. Throw to the outside, and they've got their tight end turning up the field all the way to the 40. Bowers gets stuck in the blocking game, but he's also very much a threat in the receiving. Shows a nice burst there. As they're already well away from their starting spot, RPO to the outside, finding Myers. Ringo coming off a rough game guarding the rookie in Ferguson of the Titans. Gives up a 9-yard catch there. The 2nd and 1, back to Pollard, and Oluokun stuffs him. It's a loss of about half a yard. We'll force a 3rd and 2. We'll see what they decide to go with. A spread look for the Raiders. As they look to hand it off, Oluokun there, but doesn't get the stop in time. It's a gain of 3 and a first. Came close to making the stop, but not quite so. Raiders still marching. As they're into plus side, they get motion all the way across and then hand it off. Oluokun and Pollard once again meet 3 straight plays. But right now, Raiders on the good edge of those plays. With a 2nd and 7 coming all the way across, they find their other tight end in Mayer. I'm sure Coach Boston a little bit envious of the tight end group here that the Raiders have, with a 3rd and 3 RPO and just outwitting the safety. He's going to find his way all the way to the end zone. A 3rd and short RPO bubble screen that Trey Tucker takes to the end zone. And that's just a prime example of why the secondary has been under scrutiny the last couple weeks here for the Jaguars. The offense will take the field. They're down 7, and they start at the 23. Lawrence hands this one off, and already a flag down on the play. And they're going to get Walker Little with the hold. He's out there at center because Cleveland will be out the remainder of this game. Making it 1st and 19. Lawrence goes with a play action. Rolling, throwing, too high for Gabe Davis. He does a good job of keeping the ball well away from the defender, but he kept it away from his own teammate as well. So 2nd and 19, back at the 13. Lawrence with it bunts to the right-hand side, rolls, throws, and he finds Thomas Jr., who will pick up 10. He only had 1 catch last week. It was a big one and very much helped him try to draw that game closer. The defense forgot to cover late. Need to pick up a 1st down here. They go back to Thomas. He gets the catch and quickly gets down. It's back-to-back curls for the Jaguars offense that gets them out of a rough spot. Now with a fresh set to work with here, Etienne takes the power to the outside, and no one else got out there to help block. Jerome Baker brings him down pretty easy. And it's 2nd and 10 with no gain. 2 spread either side. Motion right-hand side is Thomas. Coming into the slot. Back to the outside, already his 3rd grab. It's been a while since he's seen this amount of targets. With the impressive rookie year that he had, perhaps they're trying to get him back going with this offense. Had some injuries earlier this year as well. Etienne, he follows the big block of Quinn Miners, who just tossed Baker. It sends us to the end of the 1st quarter, where the Raiders are on top here 7-0, but both teams only with 1 full possession. Jaguars in the midst of their 2nd. And they'll be starting at the 40 with a 1st and 10 to get the 2nd quarter underway. A tight box here for both sides. Josiah DeGuara going to motion out to the left-hand side as they go with a play action, throwing across and getting the catch this time, Brenton Strange. Jaguars have their own little group here of tight ends that have shown some promise. It's just fulfilling that promise that they've got to work on. As Trevor Lawrence, he keeps it. He takes on Tyree Wilson and picks up the 1st. Not exactly what you want there from your quarterback, but I guess it works out here for the Jaguars. He's the leading rusher here in the NFL for the quarterbacks for a reason. Devin Duvernay outthrown. Cole's press coverage there throws off the timing. 2nd and 10 following the incomplete pass. Bringing out DeGuara here and following behind Miners for a short gain. That leaves the Jags with a 3rd and 8 at the 28. They'll come out here with 2 spread either side. Safeties sitting back on the outside. Spillane dropping and looking to take advantage of that. Lawrence fakes the slide, and he's going to pick up an extra 3 or 4. He's got to be careful doing that. He's coughed up the ball a couple times with it. But down to the 13 with a 1st and 10. And they hand this one off Etienne, who finally gets around the block of Miners, picks up 3. And it looks like an injury down the middle. Christian Wilkins, a big part of this Raiders front 7. He too will head to the tunnel. So 2 key players for the interior of both sides here who have exited the game. It's 2nd and 7, an empty set here for Lawrence. He's making a couple changes out there. Throws across the middle, Devin Duvernay takes a pop down at the 2. Lawrence has been quick with it though to attack the middle of this Raiders defense. 1st and goal with a power stretch. Etienne takes it far side, dives and gets splatted out of bounds by Spillane. End up marking him out just in front of the 1-yard line. Goal line set now here. As Lawrence again making some changes here, maybe trying to get some blocks lined up. As it's back to Etienne, he's not going to take a hit this time. Instead, he takes 6 points with a PAT. We're going to tie this game up, make it 7-7 here in Jacksonville. And ultimately, it's a very strong and methodical drive of the Jaguars to tie this game up. They take about half of the second quarter, plus some of the first. Finally getting out back on the field, starting at the 26, is Pollard and the Raiders. They start his way, and he just is victim to several players bumping into each other. No one really gets the tackle, but they will credit it, I believe, to either Walker or perhaps to Lloyd. But they're going to go right back to Pollard with a lot more space this time. He's got another 1st down. And now a free rusher here, and it's picked off Cisco. He could easily trot into the end zone. A little shimmy there, as it is a pick 6. Andre Cisco. This time, he does not get juked out by the offensive player. He jukes them out on his way to the end zone. And number 5 gives Gardner Minshew his 5th interception on the season. A quick swing here in Jacksonville as they start with some play action. Everyone's sending deep downfield, and it's a 6th interception. This time it's Oluokun standing in front of Brock Bowers. He takes it away. Gardner Minshew forced that throw. It was great coverage for the Jaguars downfield. The offense can now try to take advantage of that big momentum swing, already up by 7. They start close to midfield, going back to that stretch. Etienne dropped for a 2-yard loss. It's Baker. He's been a ball hawk here for the Raiders defense, racking up those tackles, closing in on 70 so far this year. Single high safety as Lawrence is dropping back. Good coverage, and it's going to lead to a big sack. Raiders answering back here, forcing a 3rd and 20. Empty set for Lawrence. Hard count. He gets Wilson to jump, but he doesn't get that snap off. That's been a big problem for him. They bring the blitz on the left-hand side. Lawrence with all the open space. He's going to sprint by the 1st down marker, an extra 15 or so, down to the 36. That puts him close to 600 yards rushing this year, probably more than a lot of starting running backs. And with what might be the final play here before the 2-minute warning, they got Etienne. He's wide open, ball a little bit high. He had to adjust to it, and with it, he gets taken down at the half-yard line by Bennett. So close, but not quite close enough. At the 1, Etienne ducks under the block, and he squeezes in this time, so he will polish off his touchdown still. Jaguars take a surprising 2-score lead here after the Raiders dominated the first quarter. But a couple bad plays from Gardner Minshew later, and it is well in hand here for the Jaguars, but still going to make sure they lock things up before the end of the half. They get the ball out to Pollard, who's got the 1st down and out of bounds. Good use of his teammate as well to get that block, who was just on a route about 5 yards deeper downfield. Bringing the blitz, and this time they find Adams. It's his first catch of the game, getting him into plus side. They might really need him here to close out this half. As Minshew rolls, he throws to Pollard, gain of 2 and out of bounds. They're doing well at least managing the clock here. A minute 22, they've got 3 timeouts. Plus side, Walker with a rush is going to force Minshew to scramble, who slides in front of Jerry and Jones. Only a gain of 3 that time, and Well inside a minute now. With a 3rd and 5, they go to the outside and close. They're going to give it to Bowers. Oluwakin tried to lay a big hit there to prevent. Not quite. They call their first timeout now. 43 seconds at the 33. Motion left side was Adams. Bringing the blitz. They throw across the middle. Adams gets the catch. Shucks off Ringo, but he couldn't keep his feet. If he did, not sure there would have been someone there to stop him. They call their second timeout. It's 2nd and 4. Armstead forcing the throwaway. He finally got into the backfield. He was benched last week from that rush spot. They brought in the young edge guy in Alford. Throw downfield and Myers. A great adjustment. He's down to the 2. This might be the final play though, and they call a timeout with 4 seconds left. And ultimately, it looks like they're going to settle for a field goal attempt. Carlson from the left hash, a chip shot. And we take this thing to halftime, 21-10. A great job there from the Raiders. Late on in that second quarter, they bounced back from their mistakes. Got some more points on the board. They draw this thing to 11. But it's their own mistakes that were the reason it got to that 14-point spread. As we take a break to take a look around the league, an update here for the Texans. They are just 5 points behind the Chiefs, a close game there. Going up north, the Vikings and Steelers. 2 6-5 teams, Steelers on top with their rookie quarterback. Both of the young quarterbacks a touchdown and an interception on the day. As for our final game update, Panthers and Patriots. And it is another close one, 14-6 this time. Carolina's on top. An interception for Drake May, a touchdown for Bryce Young. And it's another touchdown that the Raiders will be looking to get here as they continue trying to draw this thing back, starting with the ball in the second half, and already a big play made by Walker. He stuffs it, a loss of 3, play 1. And now 2 tight ends go to left-hand side. They go back to Pollard, who shakes the tackle. A little bit of a hurdle there to go over the fallen defender. Jaguars rally, and they force an early 3rd and long here. Trips to the left-hand side. Minshew under pressure. He finds Bowers. Oluwakin breaks it up, and it will be a 3 and out for the Raiders. And with plenty of rest, the Jaguars offense can hit the field. Etienne, he's closing in on 900 yards rushing already. I'm sure we'll look to go his way a little bit more in this second half as they start his way just to gain a 2. This is a top 10 run defense, if not mistaken, ranked at 7. Of course, also the number 1 rushing offense. As they go back to it, Etienne with a hard cut left-hand side, outruns Spillane, jukes out the safety coming down. Spillane eventually meets back up with him. But it's a big gash for Etienne. Jaguars up now to the 43. As they come out with a spread empty look, Etienne out there at the right-hand slot. They're going to send everyone downfield, and bumping into his own lineman was Lawrence. Slows him down and potentially cost him the first down, which, as it stands, he averages a first down a rush, 10 yards per. With a 2nd and 2, safety and corner switch with the motion. Etienne takes it, cuts, and does enough for the first. Moehrig meets him in the gap, but doesn't bring him down quick enough. Into plus side here. Single high safety, off coverage on the outside. And they go to the helmet of Jones. Though probably more aptly, we're looking for Etienne just behind. It's 2nd and 10. They're forming a bit of a rush, getting to the outside and finding Brenton Strange. A flag comes out about the same time Lawrence throws it. And it's because they got an ineligible man downfield. Not too often you complain about going hard in the blocking, but that's what Jackson did there. Drove his man downfield. Cost his team about 15 yards. Levy Brown checks in, and the rest of the offensive line didn't block for him. There was one guy to get, and they didn't do it. That'll back him up another 2 yards. It's 3rd and 17. Trips to the left-hand side, 1 to the right. Hard count for Lawrence. No one jumps. They've done a good job against Crosby so far today. And it wasn't him that forced the rush. Instead, down the middle, Cleveland Farrell. A promising drive there fizzles due to a penalty and a sack. and they will have to punt this one away. Raiders not that far away in this one, just an 11-point game, but they got to get down to the end zone. Starting with play action and dumping this one short. Quick stop on the outside, Walker. Well, he's primarily an edge rusher here for the Jaguars. Occasionally, he does drop out into coverage. 2nd and 10 as they go right back outside, this time over the top of the down defender. Bowers with a much easier gain. Well, that seems to be the bread and butter here for the Raiders. Some handoffs to Pollard and then some dump-offs to Bowers or whoever else they leave wide open. Fullback this time, rumbling into plus side. Arma Jr. just leaked out on the play action. Takes it to the 45. He exits the field thereafter, bunch to the right-hand side. And a little bit of some bumping there. Devontae Adams gets away with some offensive pass interference. Good news for the Jaguars. He was too worried about pushing off the defender. He forgot to bring his hands. 2nd and 10. They go Pollard down the middle, a gain of 2. Once again, that leaves the Raiders with a 3rd and long. They need 8 here as they go play action. And letting this one develop. Walker, perfect contain on Minshew, who could definitely scramble around. It's a loss of 2 and forces another punt. Defense forces another stop, and they'll get the ball over to the offense with Etienne, who's had a really good game today. They might look to keep going his way. RPO and down the middle for a short gain. I think he and Coach Boston very happy with what those short gains have provided. They're up top here by 11 points, 21-10, as we approach the 4th quarter. With a pass downfield for Sexton, it's overthrown. And those are about the only play the Raiders are getting here on defense, is just the Jaguars missing out or causing their own mistakes. Lawrence looks to step up here, puts a juke in on the incoming defender. I believe that was one of the safeties. He picks up the 1st down. Had a couple D linemen trailing him. They eventually meet up with him, but a bit too late. Especially as we send this one to the 4th quarter. 21-10, Jacksonville on top and in charge of this one. Of course, the biggest thing every single week is you've got to finish. They didn't do that last week against the Titans whenever they were able to get in front or at least tie the game up, so they've got to prove it here. Etienne stretched to the outside, and that might have been opened up by a holding call, so a great run from Travis will be backing up. That one courtesy of Brenton Strange, who very much sealed the edge. 1st and 20 then, back at the 22. As they dump it off to Strange, let him make up for his mistakes. At least partially picks up a nice gain. And that was just one of the several options Lawrence had on the play, as they are letting that play clock run in between each down. As they go down the middle here, Etienne lowers the shoulder about half a yard away. And once again, it was Baker that stopped him. He's picked up a lot of tackles in this one, not necessarily making big plays. They're going to need him here as they bring out Tank Bigsby. He's got the 1st down. Good blocking downfield. Thomas, he had, I think, 2 DBs all blocked up. And that's where these things really become a full team effort. The receivers getting involved in the rushing game, the rushing game getting involved in the passing game. A little dump off here. They get Sexton, who will fight through Moehrig for a gain of 8. And what's really good to see is him take that contact, battle through, and pop back up. Of course, it's well noted his injuries early on in the season. Etienne down the middle again. Moehrig, he's getting stuck in down here, but he just happened to be about a yard too slow. 1st and 10 at the 40. As they go RPO, Etienne takes it to the outside again. Decent blocking there from Thomas. And Travis surpasses 70 yards, all of which have been well hard fought for. They're down to the 27. Approaching 4 minutes left here in the game. And they're popping it up here for Sexton. Spillane breaks it up. Not sure that's the guy Lawrence really wants to be testing. He leads the Raiders in interceptions. 2nd and 10. Bunch to the right-hand side as they still are looking to throw this one. Gets Gabe Davis. About a gain of 5. And that leaves the Jaguars still needing about another 5 yards for the 1st down. They're down to the 22. Inside 3.5 minutes. It's an end around for Thomas. And just waiting on the outside was 28. Worley. He has clearly been watching film. Jaguars like to break that out late. As they break out a field goal here, they retake a 14-point lead. That leaves just under 3 minutes in which Minshew's going to have to work up a little bit of that magic to try to tie this game late. Pass across the middle and nearly picked off after the bobble by Adams. That's now twice here in this game. He's dropped a pass across the middle, very unlike him. For the 2nd and 10, they get motion along the right-hand side. That's Myers. Looking to pass the ball, Minshew. Everyone covered up pretty well. He shakes one, but he's not going to shake Mason Smith. He'll split that one between Walker and him. The right side of this defensive line making a big play. And then loading up deep downfield. And swatting it away is Campbell. He might have been able to pick that one off, and that might have helped us out a little bit more here. 4th and 19. Raiders offense stays out on the field. They got to get the first down here. Walker works his way around, puts a hit in on him, and tipping it away is Cisco. A little bit of help down there as well by Ringo. It's a turnover on downs, down at the 16. And with 2:12 left, starting in plus side. Looks like a backup, at least skill set here for the offense outside the offensive line. Comes on in. It's going to be Jaren Hall and Tank Bigsby. Sexton still out there, a rookie getting his snaps in. Bigsby takes it left side. He picks up 6. And whether they could easily take this one inside the 2-minute warning. At the 11-yard line here with 3 tight ends to the right-hand side. Tank down the middle. All the way down to the 2, but a late flag comes in. That hole might have been helped by a slight grab. And they're going to get A.J. Jackson with said hold. So backing them up to the 19 instead of the 2-3 yard line. 2 receivers to the left-hand side. Hall with a play action throws. Devin Duvernay with a little bit of a nail in the coffin here. In Duval, Jaren Hall comes in with a second-team offense and drops the 30 bomb. And as the Raiders come on out, now down by 21, it's going to be the second-team defense as well that they will be facing. Pretty much everyone has been rotated out. With a dump-off pass, they find Myers. And Savage still out there. He gets shook off. He was another player that had his struggles last week. Didn't really call his name much here in this one. The 1st and 10. Minshew looks to get the halfback screen off, and they do get it out there. It was slowed down by one of the big D linemen, but he just wasn't able to quite make the play, and it looked like that might have been Walker, who is still out there, a younger player here on the Jacksonville side, still keeping his snaps up with a 2nd and 3. They only rushed 3, and it's chopping out Muma. He doesn't get to see the field very much at all. We've seen a little bit from Hall, the rookie. He was taken in the mid-rounds in the draft. Hasn't quite been able to show off much talent, but Coach Boston believes the raw talent is there for him. With a 2nd and 6, Minshew goes hurry up. Walker nearly picks up the sack instead, 1st down. They're going to continue with the hurry up here as they're trying to get some last-minute points here. Everyone blocked up well, and Walker, he gets shaken, eventually dragging down Minshew after he gets rid of it. But the QB hit stat, not necessarily the stat you want to be padding here late. We got 35 seconds left for the Raiders. As Minshew rolls, and he's getting taken down. I believe that is Deo Odeyingbo. He hasn't got to see the field much this year, but with the inconsistent interior rush we've had, perhaps maybe he should. With a 3rd and 13, pass downfield, and Johnson will add on another interception for Gardner. And that brings this one to a close. Overall, a great game for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and very much so. They keep their streak of picking up wins against non-AFC South teams. And for the Raiders, it's now 3 of 4 losses that have been pretty dominant losses. The offense looked really good out there. They got a lot of different guys involved, but the main core of Lawrence and Etienne really worked well. The defense, they responded off a really bad week last week. We saw good coverage out there, all 3 levels making plays, and they nearly doubled the interception total on this season for Gardner Minshew. So Good for the Jaguars, not so much for the Raiders. And that does exactly as predicted. We take down the Raiders, we take back number 2. But it even dropped them further than 4 because obviously Buffalo Bills and whoever is leading the AFC East, they have to take that 4th seed. So Raiders dropped from 2 to 5 with that loss. But that was just a warm-up because next game is against the Ravens. We've already taken down some of the best teams from the AFC. We've struggled against some of the worst teams from the AFC. But we've got the Ravens up next. This is a home game. We win, we retake the 1st seed before we head into a divisional stretch. And as mentioned at the top, we've not done well against our division. 38-23 we lost to the Colts, 27-20 we lost to the Titans, 38-31 we lost to the Titans again. After the Ravens, we have Texans, Colts, Broncos, then again against the Texans. If we are to finish with that number 1 seed, not only do we have to beat the Ravens next week, we've got to answer back against our division and put them in their place. And if that's gonna happen, we need to see our defense play as we did today. A true number 2 defense in terms of points per game, number 1 in passing yards allowed, and number 2 in rushing yards allowed. We shut down teams. Our offense, despite their weird shenanigans with Lawrence, can find wins. But avoiding the shenanigans and the weirdness that does happen here in Madden, we always have to look to try to improve our team. And last time we talked about taking a look here at these corners or DBs in general. And we did find some very promising cornerback options here. Starting at the top, a round 1 to 2 in Will Ellerbe. He's a man-to-man guy who also has some zone, both are Bs. The press is a C, so that makes me a little worried. Not exactly sure what that grade would pan out to be. If it's a mid-70s, that's something we might be able to work with. But in terms of other options, it really starts to narrow, specifically down to just being a man or zone guy, because you do have someone like Stockton, who we do need to take a further look into, though again, he might have the same issue of the C press. There are some guys down the line that I have interest in. You got LaRon Poe, another man-to-man. We just don't know the zone, we don't know the press. A little bit further down the line, in the round 3 to 4, is someone I'm hoping is going to be a gem sitting down here for us in George Boss. He's a man-to-man style yet again with a big size. He's 6'4", 195. A press, B man. I just really hope that zone isn't an F. And then when it comes to safety, doesn't matter really free or strong. Most of these guys seem to be more of my style for a strong safety, which is where Savage is playing. So we have a couple options. JP straight up at the top here, round 1 has A-man coverage. The next guy you're gonna find with that is a round 1 to 2 in Rashad Shepard here. We just don't know for sure what that zone coverage is, anywhere from a C to a D. They have some catching abilities, and it's gonna be a better tackling day for Shepard. So we've got options. Over at the strong side, a couple more guys here with the A-man coverage. You got Terrence Bowie and Terrence Yancey. Apparently this is a Terrence heavy safety group. Neither one has anything above a C for the zone coverage, but we do know the zone coverages, which are nice. If we're looking for a zone specialist, there is Parker Armstrong, who is a round 2 to 3. And then at the top, you do have Dontrell Wolf. Neither one come with any sort of man coverage. Well, there are some decent guys for the secondary, but we will get to that when we get closer to thinking about the offseason. Right now, we are focused on playoffs, and we have a potential playoff preview next time against the Baltimore Ravens. So make sure you hit that bell icon down in the bottom right, or scroll down to the sub button and tap that bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. We're here every single Tuesday and Thursday. Stanford Cardinal Monday, Wednesday, Friday on College Football 25, as they too are fighting for a playoff spot. So a lot of big games coming up that you don't want to miss, especially next time back in Jacksonville as the Ravens come flying into town.